So today we'll be having an overview on the scheduling algorithms in operating systems. So without a further ado, let's get started. So first of all, let's start off with the most basic thing, like what is a process? So program is something which is considered to be passive and is stored in our hard disk mostly. And when we double click on a program, it becomes active. So that's when it is stored on the RAM. So in simply we can say that a process is nothing but a program under execution. So that is when we execute a program, that executing program is called a process. So let's now start with the process states, like what all states are associated with the process. So we come across terms like new, we come across terms like ready, running, waiting, and terminated. So let's quickly discuss what are these terms. So the term new means that a process is created. So the term ready means the process is waiting to be assigned to a processor, like that is CPU. Running means that the instructions in that process are being executed. Waiting means that process is waiting for some IO event, and terminated means that process has finished execution. So we'll now discuss about scheduler. So scheduler is something which is used to schedule a process to the CPU. So basically there are three types of schedulers. We'll just discuss about two of its types. That is long-term scheduler, which is also known as the process scheduler. And the other one is known as the short-term scheduler, which is also known as the CPU scheduler. So long-term scheduler is used to bring a process from new state to the ready state, that is from the new queue to the ready queue. And the short-term scheduler is used to bring a process from the ready queue to the running queue, that is the running state. Dispatcher is a module that gives control of the CPU to the process selected by the short-term scheduler. That is, dispatcher switches the execution from one process to the another. And this switching of the process from one process to another is what is known as context switching. So this is something we'll be looking at when we will be discussing about preemptive scheduling. Okay. So now we'll be discussing about CPU scheduling. So the main task of CPU scheduling is that we know that nowadays we have lots of processes. So the task of CPU scheduling is to schedule those processes in a way that maximizes CPU utilization. That is, we want the CPU to be busy as much as possible. So the scheduling criteria will be to maximize the CPU utilization and to maximize the throughput. Correspondingly, we want to minimize the turnaround time and the waiting time. So the ultimate aim is to keep the CPU as much busy as possible, that is to minimize the CPU idle time. So let's now discuss a few terms related to CPU scheduling. So the first one is arrival time. So arrival time is when a new process arrives into system. Next is the finishing time, that is the time instance when the process gets terminated. Next up is the burst time, that is the predicted time required for the process to get over. Next is the waiting time, sum of discrete time instances the process undergoes the waiting state. Next is the turnaround time, the time taken from the arrival time to the finish time, and the last is the throughput. And this is the most important thing, that is the number of processes completed per unit time, and this is what we need to maximize. So we'll now discuss the types of CPU scheduling. So it's broadly of two types. One is known as the non-preemptive, and the second one is known as the preemptive. So let's discuss what is non-preemptive. So let's suppose there is a process named P1 and CPU is currently executing this process. And let's suppose a new process P2 comes into existence which is having a higher priority. So what happens in non-preemptive is it states that the CPU will not switch over to P2 until and unless P1 gets completed fully. So either P1 gets completed fully or P1 is terminated due to some IO event. That's the only case when we'll be switching on to P2. That is, P1 cannot be halted in between. That is what is meant by non-preemptive. So until and unless P1 gets completed fully, we can't go to P2, despite the fact that this is having a higher priority. Now coming on to preemptive. Preemptive states that, again, if there is a process which is being executed by the CPU at the moment, and when we encounter another process P2 which is having a higher priority, what happens is there is a flexibility or there is an allowance that this process can be halted for the time being and the CPU can be allotted to the new process. So what happens is this process is halted, that is, it is being sent to the blocked state. Take some examples. So the various algorithms which comes under the non-preemptive are first come first served, longest job first, shortest job first, highest response ratio first, and then multi-level queue. And under preemptive we have shortest remaining time first, longest remaining time first, round robin, and priority based thing. So let's just briefly discuss them. So first come first serve in non-preemptive is whichever job comes first, that will be executed first, and that too it will be fully executed. Next is longest job first. So the job having the longest burst time, that will be executed first. Shortest job first, again the job having the shortest burst time, that will be executed first. And highest response ratio, there is a formula for the response ratio which is W plus S by S, which is the waiting time and the burst time. So based on this, the process having the higher value of this thing will be executed first. So this algorithm basically not only favors the shorter jobs but also concerns the waiting time for the longer jobs. So next is the multi-level queue, and then here we basically have like multiple queues, and after going through one queue it is sent to the another and sent to another. So the ultimate aim is to increase the throughput and decrease the waiting time. For preemptive thing, that is which can be halted in between, we have shortest remaining time first. So remaining time is basically similar to this shortest job first, but time to time we'll be updating the remaining times because we'll be executing them like in parallel. Then we have longest remaining time. Then we have round robin, in which we fix a time quantum like after every 2 seconds, let's suppose. So the switching will take place. And then we have priority based. So we have a priority number, that is the lower the number, higher is the priority. So we basically discussed a lot. So let's get to a final example. So for the example sake, we'll take shortest job first because that has both the variants. So this is the question that we have been given. So let's solve it by using non-preemptive method. That is, the process can't be halted in between. So we have been given 4 processes. We have been given the arrival time, we have been given the burst time. So shortest job first means we have to take the one which has the least thing, provided this arrival time is also given. So at time equal to, so we draw a Gantt chart. So at time equal to 0, we have only process 1 in memory. So that will start execution. So that will go on till 7. So we are done with this. So till 7 will be this. So the next thing is, we know that 1 is the one having the shortest burst time, and till then it has arrived. So we will take P3 next. So P3 will be executing till 8. So the next thing is we have both are same. So now we'll be going with the one which came first, that is this 2-1. So we'll give it to P2 till 12. And then finally we have this thing P4. So it will be going till 16. So yeah. So now we'll be solving the same question using the preemptive method, that is the shortest job first. So yeah, so at time equal to 0, we have P1. So we'll start executing P1. Now what happens is at time equal to 2, so at time equal to 2, we get another process P2 which has burst time 4. So now the burst time of this thing will be 5, minus 2 will be 5 and 4. So this is the shortest job. So we'll take up P2. Now P2 will be executing till 4 again. So again at 4 we have P3 which has burst time as 1, which is very less. So we'll give this to P3. It will go till 5. Now the cycle has been ended. So now we'll take the shortest job. So right now we have P1 which is having 5 seconds, and we have P2 which is having 2 seconds. So we'll take P2. So now we'll be giving 2 seconds for this. So now P2 gets over. P3 was already over. Now the remaining 5 seconds will be given to P1. So that will make it 12. So hence we observe that this is how we get the thing for preemptive, that is the task can be halted in between. We basically had an overview of the scheduling algorithms in operating systems. So we actually went through a lot of concepts and a lot of terms, and finally we solved an example, that is shortest job first, using both preemptive and non-preemptive. So thank you, that's it for today. See you guys.